You're listening to the Lovish Podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Sita Hood, vision architect and licensed therapist. Each week, I'm going to help you to develop the belief and strategy necessary to make an immediate impact on the world by deep diving into topics like mental wellness, faith, relationships, and you guessed it, love. I should mention before we hop into the show, this is not a substitute for a relationship with a licensed therapist. You ready? Let's get it. Welcome back for another episode of the Lovish Podcast. I am your host, Dr. Sita Hood, vision architect and licensed therapist. What is in your mug? I have Starbucks coffee with a splash of creamer and sugar, and mentally, I am doing well. I wasn't feeling good last weekend, so I took the time to allow my body to reset, and I feel like I'm very in tune with my body, so I tend to notice fairly quickly when something feels off for me, both physically and mentally. So I took a couple of days just to kind of reset and let my body repair. You know, we always talk about optimal wellness and having that scale that we sit at. But how are you feeling? What's going on with you? Drop it in the comments section, or if you are listening to this episode, tag me on social media and let's get the conversation cracking. You feel me? All right, let's dive into today's topic. Here's the thing about being an ambitious woman. Sometimes your ambitions are far greater than your current capacity. Am I right? Am I right? Anybody feeling me? Okay. Does that mean that you should stop? No. It just means that you have to manage your overwhelming emotions, and you have to be intentional about when you take calculated risks to build your dream lifestyle. But your life is not going to shift with constant complaining or running around like a chicken with your head cut off, girlfriend. Okay. Or even repeating the same behavior cycles. And the truth is that I say to people quite often, nothing changes if nothing changes, right? And I know that's a quote floating around. I don't know who said it first. I'm just telling you that I quote it to my clients, okay? Because we'll sit up here and we'll complain, but we don't realize that ain't nothing gonna change if we don't put our feet to our faith. Okay, now let me ask you a question that's just between me and you. Okay, how long have you been complaining about life without any real changes happening? How long you been sitting around doing that? Take a minute, think about it. How long have you been sitting back praying for a miracle and hoping that God will come through? I think that we misunderstand Jesus a lot. I think we think that when he gives us an idea, we're not supposed to have to work to make it happen. And that's a lie. We do have work to do. There's work to do to become the person who lives the life you can't stop dreaming about. And there's work to do to co-create the life you can't stop dreaming about. So to become the person, but also to create the life. But you have to be willing to take the risk in both of those situations. You can't just leave it up to chance, because if we really want to get into the spiritual side of things, the enemy would love to steal your future and distract you by letting you think your role is to sit back and wait for more instructions. When the truth is, you probably not gonna get instructions for step 2 if you haven't even completed step 1. Okay? Am I right? Am I right? Okay. Let's get into these 4 signs that you need to take a risk. But first, let's have a word from our sponsor for this episode. Meet me poolside in Arizona? You're tired of feeling alone and trapped in a cycle of mediocrity. You're tired of constantly juggling all the things to work in a job where you have no control over the work you do. And if one more person tells you just how easy it is to manifest your dreams, you are going to scream. You don't want to keep complaining because you know you're really blessed, but you just feel really miserable where you are and terrified to take the first step. That's why we're here. We're the Million Collective Inc., and we're going to help you ditch your notebook and launch your project in as little as 3 months. It's time to unlock the boldest version of you. No more $1 million ideas trapped in your notebooks or in the notes section of your phone. Deep down, you know you've got the genius, the tenacity, and the boldness to bring this project to life. But right now, the path there feels clouded with self-doubt. You want a clear step-by-step strategy to make this project a reality. You want to connect with other bold dreamers just like you. You want a launch strategy that leaves people ecstatic about your project release date. And you want to escape hustle culture, knowing the work that you do makes a difference. We're looking to partner with you. Join 24K Vision, a 90-day accelerator for audacious visionaries to ditch their notebooks and launch their project. Need the quick details? 90 days of support, accountability, and hot seat consulting on our group calls, a 4-day immersive, intimate weekend experience at the Andes Luxury Resort and Spa in Scottsdale, Arizona, 6 months of access to the 24K Club to connect with other audacious visionaries, access to our signature system, the Visionary Blueprint, and so much more. This is not just another program. It is a blueprint and a launch strategy, and we can't wait to partner with you to make your dreams a reality. Go ahead and click the link in the show notes or below this video to learn more. Sign number 1, you are feeling stuck or unfulfilled. You feel bored with daily life, and you could be struggling with anxiety and depression because you never seem to catch a break. And you don't know what you're supposed to do to break the current cycle that you're in. You tired of going to the same job, doing the same work, talking to the same people about the same gossip, feeling the same familiar pressure of deciding what's for dinner at the very last minute because you were way too swamped with work all day to make a decision earlier. I know. And that is a sign that it's time to take a risk. Sign number 2, a pattern of stagnation or extremely slow progress. So you have this looming feeling that you're failing in life because you haven't made much progress. And it's progress according to your standard. You don't even know what progress would really look like, but you feel certain that you haven't achieved it. You haven't made it. You think that because you're in the same or a similar position as last year, too much time has been wasted and you can't recover. You think that these years that you spent doing what you've been doing have been wasted. And in reality, nothing is wasted. Every experience counts. And this is why we talk about living a lifestyle of wellness along the way inside of 24K Vision, because you cannot go full force hustling and forget about your needs. You have to be mentally and physically well so that you can become the person you need to become, and so that you can have the capacity you need to grow. You're not going to reach it by doing what you're doing now. You have to be a different person. Your habits have to be different. Your patterns have to be different. Sign number 3, a sliver of an opportunity for risk comes to you and you reject it. You reject it out of tremendous fear, okay? Fear that you're going to fail. Fear that your idea might not be good enough. Fear that you're not enough. Fear that those people were right about you and your business the whole time. Fear slapping you up and down the street, okay? You don't seem to be able to get from underneath fear. I can remember the first time I made my 4-figure investment in both myself and my business. And I say myself and my business because personal and professional are connected. I was terrified, okay? I was terrified because I didn't have money to be taking a leap so big, but also terrified because I felt an internal pull and a knowing from God that this was the path that I was supposed to take. When I tried to invest in that program, I didn't even know what I would do or whether the program could actually help me like I thought it could. It was speaking my language, but I wasn't really sure about the outcome. So I questioned myself for 24 hours straight, and this is no lie. I couldn't hardly sleep, tossing and turning. I felt nauseous. It literally was not pretty. I'm adding up math left and right, trying to figure it out. But I took the leap of faith. And what I got as a result was far greater than what I ever anticipated. It catapulted me into my next level in a matter of 6 months. Literally. So I know the power of being afraid to invest in yourself and being afraid to take calculated risks. I understand wholeheartedly because I've been where you are. And honestly, when you're going to a new level, I don't think that fear ever leaves. There's healthy doses of fear. Sign number 4. A burning desire for change. So just like I felt in that 24 hours, I felt that there was something about that particular program, that particular person, that season of my life hit different. And you know that you're called to a greater purpose. You know you can't deny it. People tell you this all the time and you just shrug it off. And you kind of know you're a big deal, but at the same time, you like, okay, relax, bro. Because you ain't trying to get big-headed, right? But I'm here to tell you that it's okay to accept a compliment. It's okay to know who you are. It's okay to follow that burning desire for change, because low-key is probably the Holy Spirit that put it there. Okay, you didn't just happen upon these desires on your own. It really is planted in you from the Holy Spirit. Before I end today's episode, I want to leave you with 2 very important considerations for taking a risk. And these are some of the prompts that I cover in Boost Your Confidence Masterclass inside of 24K Vision. So I want to share them with you. And the first consideration, I want you to consider your personality type. Are you risk averse? If so, how does that actually play into the risk that you are considering taking? Consider your past triggers and patterns. What is your response to hard work, to hefty deadlines, to curveballs? Do you tend to run away or do you tend to stay in it? Do you stay in it too long? Like, how do you work? What type of person are you? How does all of this factor in? And I know it seems like very simple considerations, but they're considerations that matter nonetheless, because they're going to impact whether you ever actually achieve your dream lifestyle. You're not going to be able to get there without considering these things. And you really have to be mindful not to spend too much time lagging, because you can miss out on opportunities that are actually God, because you're too busy trying to search for a confirmation and God didn't already gave you what you needed. Okay. So if you are ready to take a risk and you are ready to change your life, I want to invite you to join me inside of 24K Vision. The doors are open and I cannot wait to invite you to become the next member of the 24K Club. I want to invite you to click the link in the show notes to get started. At least check out the page, see what I've been talking about for all of these months. And if you're feeling that pull, if these 4 signs were present, it's time for you to take a risk. You owe it to yourself and you owe it to the future people that you are called to serve, to take the risk, launch out into the deep and do the thing. It's time to talk about what I've been loving. Product recommendations, shout outs to family and friends, and overall gratitude. Let's get into it. Welcome back for another What I've Been Loving. This week I have been loving the water mint and eucalyptus candle from my best friend house. Just kidding, it's Target. But I mean, what we gonna call Target, y'all? Anyway, that's what I've been loving this week. How about you? If you enjoyed today's episode, share the love. Share with your mama, share with your auntie, share with your best friend. Then head on over to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. Reviews help the podcast to grow. Well, that is all I have for you this week. I'll see you out in these social media streets. Bye.